Ms. Arsenian.
President Sahakian, esteemed members of the school board, Superintendent Watson, staff, respected colleagues, students, and members of our community. My name is Talene Arsenian, and I am the proud president of the Glendale Teachers Association. While I have been given the privilege of an agendized labor report at board meetings, I have never felt more unseen and unheard. While this board has repeatedly stated that it wants a collaborative relationship with labor partners, your actions have not provided the space for such a relationship to thrive. For example, this summer, while the vast majority of educators were off work and without so much as a heads up, you voted to declare an impasse in our current negotiations. You did this in spite of the fact that GTA's bargaining chair had communicated to your bargaining chair that we had a new proposal to present and had requested additional meeting dates. This is not the behavior of a board looking for a partnership with its educators. This is the behavior of a board that wants to be done with its obligation to meet and negotiate face-to-face. Furthermore, some of your public comments to the press in our community have left me confused. For example, President Sahakian commented to the Glendale News Press that he looks forward to mediation bringing a, and I quote, transparent review, end quote, of GUSD's proposals. Comments such as these betray a lack of understanding of what mediation entails. In fact, both parties have already had to sign an agreement outlining how mediation will actually be less transparent than normal negotiations. State mediation and conciliation services required the parties to sign said agreement before the first mediation date, agreeing to not publicize details of mediation. I am worried that in the minds of this board, mediation and the impasse process generally is something much different than what it actually is. The mediator is not an accountant or school finance expert. The mediator is not a public official subject to public scrutiny. The mediator's only job is to convince the parties to settle, regardless of whether that settlement is best for Glendale students and educators. Ultimately, I know GTA members and leadership want the collaborative relationship everyone on this board talks about, but as a long-time leader in this union and educator in this district, working collaboratively is impossible without trust, and building trust is difficult with an unreliable partner who seems only interested in working collaboratively when it requires just the barest commitment or compromise. I am disappointed in the continued direction of our relationship, and while there have been promising moments since the current board was seated, it has not been enough to build the trust and mutual respect necessary to live up to this board's public statements. Speaking of building a new relationship, recently you elevated the CFO salary and title. The person who will eventually fill this role will play a major part in building trust with GUSD workers or undermining it. I am not certain why the previous CFO salary and title were not good enough to attract a quality finance officer. I'm not sure because the other GUSD employees believe the previous CFO had a very nice salary. But since this decision has been made and the position has been flown with a $235,000 annual salary plus perks, I hope that this investment will directly benefit the students in GUSD in the way they desperately deserve. I hope that this new Assistant Superintendent of Finance will bring both intelligence and creativity to the office and get straight to work on day one rewriting GUSD's current budget in a way that, number one, gets us to a quick and fair settlement and mediation, and number two, allows this board to unhypocritically brag about how your budget is aligned with the board priorities you often reference, namely prioritizing student achievement and working collaboratively with labor. In another attempt to be seen and heard, let me reiterate the theme of my labor reports. Stop budgeting monies away from the quality of experiences students receive. Stop overpaying to outsource union jobs. For example, you have more outsourced SLPs than in-house SLPs, which means you are overspending for SLPs. One SLP I spoke to yesterday said they could be making $39,000 more annually for the same step and column at LAUSD, but you would rather pay a company than offer competitive salaries. Stop contracting with third-party corporations who regularly hike up their fees at rates higher than what you are willing to give in-house employees. For example, just from today's board report, First Student School Bus Services is getting an 18.95% raise this school year. Covello is getting a 3% raise this school year, in a year when the COLA is projected to be 1.07%. Do you think GTA can get a Me Too clause with any one of your contractors? Prioritize in-house union employee wages in your budget in order to become competitive to neighboring districts so that you can attract and retain the best quality employees, which in turn will lower your stated need to overspend on outsourcing union jobs. Finally, and most importantly, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our incoming 24-25 students to school next week. Students, your teachers are preparing to ensure you receive the best education possible as you begin the next school year, advancing your knowledge and growing your spirit. Although educators are working with an expired contract and earning antiquated salaries, we want and will fight for you. We want and will fight for the best for you at all times. We hope that the school board will live up to its public commitments and with fidelity work with us to make GUSD better for students. Thank you.